pockets up to keep us down. No, she don't make no money, I live close. Don't you know we come from Queens and Belrose? Out of sight, not of mind. Little boy only 8, but he got a 9. Don't you ever think we chose poverty and crime? Blueprint from the devil.
On the top speed, which is at the top, well, basically the end of the main straight before they start to screw off speed for turn 1. Yesterday, qualifying 2, Paul Espargaro, 354 kilometres an hour. With that tailwind, they're already going 356 on board that KTM into turn 1. That was the long lap penalty area. Down in turn 4, which Marco Bezzecchi's going to have to come to twice. It's going to be in the first sort of 5-6 laps of the Grand Prix. It's 5 laps from the point you receive the instruction to serve the penalties, which won't be served until he comes past it on the first lap. So he can't come through there on lap 1. It's a 4 to 5 second real-time loss, but of course what you then have to factor in is where he filters in after his penalty. He's going to have to overtake riders and use up his tyre, so that might be the big issue rather than the actual time he loses going through the long lap loop.
Friday, Bezzecchi Fernandez 1-2. Saturday, Bezzecchi Fernandez 1-2. Guess what? Sunday I started with a Bezzecchi Fernandez Aprilia 1-2. They are clearly the two standout riders going into Saturday's 27 lap on Grand Prix.
Yeah, the team are already practicing and trying to get all of the communication sorted for later today. You might have just seen back then on the pit board as they hung out lap 3 in the stability section with long lap underneath. Communication is going to be key to making sure that they're doing it exactly the right time. You say 5 laps to do it. I think with all the pace on the side, if you can get the whole shot, then it's probably his best tactics are 3 qualified laps, trying to build up as much of an advantage as possible and then take them on laps 4 and 5. But of course,
best time to the first sector, he's down 2.9 seconds down with the second. So again, to give you an idea of how much time he's likely to lose. He is a full second clear of the rest of the moment in this warm-up session. The one lap he did that didn't involve a practice of the long lap penalty was a 1:28.3. Pedro Acosta on a 29.3 over a second behind. That's why everyone is so convinced he can win anyway.
In terms of the spectacle and neutrals, it might not be a bad thing that Bezzecchi has to come through the 2 long laps here today, because it could be a cruise for him had he not have to do those long laps. Wouldn't JD be told what the plan might be later on this afternoon? It's going to add some jeopardy into the Grand Prix later on. And we better have to do the 2 long laps. Fernandez, by far his closest challenger yesterday for time to see Fernandez at the front of a Spindle Grand Prix MotoGP All Fabiano Furley. Looks like they would have talked about it behind the scenes. They have had a proper in-depth discussion about when will be the optimal moment to dive into that long lap. Bagnaia, left shoulder, the exit from turn 4. You know, rather more stable and less wayward battery to catch at the moment. Towards the 10 laps, once again in this 10-minute warm-up session. At the moment, and anything sub 1:41. Another massive mental blow this for the double world champion stage.
Keep in mind, when he climbs on the bike before he leaves pit lane, of course, for the very weekend, the story of the weekend has been a tale of 2 different bikes for Pecco Bagnaia, which he and the team say are absolutely identical, but are behaving completely differently. Went out on Friday morning. So discarded that first bike, jumped over to bike number 2. It was performing better, but still nowhere near as well as it was back in Bezzecchi. That's got an update on the 63.
yeah, you saw him walk over, he'll trip over some of the collected away when he was walking over the line. I have to say, his body language as he comes down pit lane yet again was that of a man that just thought, shape of the head, shoulders dropped low, the head was bowed low, and he just sort of very somberly trudged his way over to the bike. He now comes back into the box again, and you feel as if, what is the point of Bagnaia going out later today? He's done 1 flying lap on both of these machines. Clearly, neither of them are working now. It's a really tough situation for the captain to hit.
Thanks, Jack. Bagnaia looks completely beaten. He's submission, doesn't he, right now by this factory caddy. I mean, it's 3 weeks ago where he was so completely dominant over in Mercedes. A a shocking Mandalika 2 weeks ago, and this has got even worse. This is dismal in the extreme. I mean, I heard the words yesterday: embarrassing, humiliating, humbling. All words that really perfectly describe Bagnaya's woe from Australian Grand Prix so far this weekend. You can see there as he was talking to the group, Gabarini, the body language, facial expression. He's getting to the end of his tether right now, isn't he? Inside that Borgo Panigale garage is Bagnaia.
Here's the pole sitter then, Fabio Quartararo. Against the front tyre choice this afternoon, it's going to be no real doubt for Fabio. He's going to go across for the hard front tyre. I mean, it shows the meeting yesterday. Which rear tyre he has on, though, might be more of a question mark. Just the conundrum he's weighing up is whether it is worth going for the soft rear tyre and just accepting whatever pain he's going to suffer from late in the race, hoping that perhaps the drop is not going to be quite so severe as what Roy Martin did back in 2023. That might be his big opportunity to pull a result out of the bag on form by Yamaha. We're expecting the majority pick this afternoon to be the medium rear tyre, which has no real concern of making distance without any drop.
Mosquero Calamasso told Jackie yesterday maybe 2 or 3 riders would take a punt on the soft. You might have seen some of our social media coverage of the top 3 yesterday discussing rear tyre choices. Bezzecchi, Ralph Fernandez and Pedro Acosta all seemed absolutely adamant there was no way that they felt that they could make that soft rear tyre go the full 27 laps. Acosta said his soft rear tyre yesterday at the end of the sprint has gone 2 or 3 laps before the checker flag. Fernandez said the last 4 laps when he had nothing at all. For Bezzecchi abused his soft rear tyre too much. And once again, just to complete this morning warm-up session, that's the 3rd or 4th time into him this 10-minute session. The Bez has come through that long lap. It really is going to add another dimension, another dynamic to this afternoon's Grand Prix. Can be the first rider in a full-dry MotoGP race to combat 2 long laps and get himself back into victory contention.
Yeah, you can see there then the laps where he's been through the long lap loop in the 31 and the 32. Of course, the laps where he hasn't been in the 28. And he is really having to push the margins, and there aren't really many margins to play with through that long lap penalty loop. It is pretty narrow. You can compare it to Bezzecchi to lead at the end of this first lap. And he'll want to stretch this pack out, pull out an advantage at the front of the field, and of course try and feed back in as close to the front of the race to his first long lap as possible. Of course, the better he is at that, the fewer riders he's going to have to overtake on his way back through. He loses place on the first lap. That might well be the aim of the victor's home.
Jack Miller, another excellent session for the home crowd hero. He really has done the home crowd proud so far this weekend. 2019, a 3rd place here. Miller is a solitary Moto3. Of course, he has tasted victory here all the way back in 2014. Moto3. What a day actually lies in store for the Aussie fans. John Kelso's going to aid on the front row.
Quartararo very shocking box here. It's really likely to come to a brilliant. Alphabet's back further back there. He's had to walk his Yamaha back down the pit. So a bit of an oversight there from the pole sitter who missed his box entirely.
I'm sure he probably likes his riding at the moment around 25 because it's definitely the package to be on. Susan Bezzecchi once again fastest on Friday afternoon. He was almost quickest in qualifying yesterday before Quartararo's late brilliance. And then wasn't he in that 13-lap sprint yesterday, Marco Bezzecchi. Can he double up for Aprilia with a double long lap? That's going to be the big question going into this afternoon's 27-lap race, which will, just for reference, those tuning in at home and here at the circuit, will be underway at 3 PM local time with all the schedule pushed back by 1 hour. One could have actually marketplace. If it wasn't for the 2 long lap, she's really, this will be no contest in favour of Bezzecchi. Almost 4 tenths clear of Miller at the end of that warm-up session. Pedro Acosta, the only other rider, within half a second of Bez at the end of that 10-minute stint.
Imagine the riders elsewhere from Bez are not going to be seeking to set quite as fast a pace. Of course, exactly because of those concerns of getting the tyre to the end of the race, a rear tyre. So that might well work in Bezzecchi's favour if no one is keen to push too hard and stretch the field out too much in those early stages. It just mentions how much traffic he's going to have to try and overcome. And is Ralph Fernandez one of those riders perhaps at the front of the queue looking to cash in on Bezzecchi's double long lap? If Bezzecchi is not going to come back and recover from his long laps, someone is going to grasp the ultimate opportunity.
Never had a Grand Prix podium at MotoGP so far, has he? Ralph Fernandez. today, there's a potential where Pedro Acosta breaks his winning duck in the Premier Class. You can see what he was thinking about the front end, the stability of the KTM and the windy conditions. That was a real tricky session, and that was just a case of getting through that session unscathed, wasn't it, as far as the MotoGP field are concerned. Look at the flag from the top of the pit wall here in Australia, getting a real big buffeting. Miguel Antonio, well, he will start once again in 10, his way through the fifth yesterday. Less than 10 of a second behind Miller in fourth place. Still good fight, wasn't it, behind the two brilliant for the podium, including Acosta, Miller, Miguel Antonio, Alex Marquez, a couple of seconds, then back to another group involving Quartararo, Marini, Thomas Hydro, the fastest UV punter in the world, picking up another point from yesterday's time spot. Got a good wall session as well, actually. Joe finishing in at 6th place, not the secondary KTM in draw, the absent Maverick Vinales.
And he pointed out one of the other issues you're going to have later on if you race soft 385, particularly with a hard front. The extra version of soft 3 really is to push the front end. You could end up crashing before you even get to those crucial final few laps of the race. Well, the elements are certainly going to provide a major challenge for the best riders in the world this afternoon. We hope, certainly that is the intention of the change in the schedule, that the worst of the weather is going to pass before we go racing at 3 p.m. local time this afternoon. Over 27 laps, where Marco Bezzecchi looks to overcome a double long lap penalty, which he practiced plenty of times in the warm-up. In amongst that, he did still top it on a 28.3. Jack Miller second from Pedro Acosta and Fabio Quartararo. Ralph Fernandez and Paul Espargaro next up. Ian Gura, if I've seen him this weekend in 7th. Alex Marquez, after 2 crashes in qualifying yesterday, came through the 6th in the sprint, 8th for him ahead of Marini, Giugiano, Antonio Oliveira, Bastianini, Zarco, and Brad Binder, who, like Pecco Bagnaia, takes the free place group penalty later on today. Juan Mir 15th from Alex Rins, Fermin Aldeguer and Frankie Morbidelli. He's been around there all weekend down in P18. Wildcat Chapter 19 from Kenny Piro, Lorenzo Salvatori, and the miserable Pecco Bagnaia, whose weekend was even further to the depths.
So far in his MotoGP career, a double victory on the same weekend as the losing Marco Bezzecchi. Can he complete the double win from a double long lap penalty? Factory Prix still a favourite, despite the 2 long laps coming his way at a windy and wild Phillip Island. Have a great race day, folks, here down under. We are rolling right now with the 2025 Riders Parade. We are taking the trailer around. We're going to introduce the riders to what is a growing crowd at 27 laps here in this amazing 4.4 kilometre circuit, 2.7 miles. And the talk of the town is the wind. The conditions are very, very windy here, but we do have all 22 riders, including the 3 replacement riders in the Ninja Boys here this weekend. Heading down this front straight where, with this big tailwind today, we'll be seeing speeds of well over 350 kilometres per hour down towards the corner, turn number 1. Amazing part of the racetrack down here. We'll walk around and speak to some of the riders and catch their thoughts. We'll start with some of the Honda boys over behind us. Right now is Ramir, who is taking a nice moment here with the fans. We're just talking about the wind here this week, and what did you notice in the warm-up grind coming down towards turn 1 with the big tailwind?
Yeah, the truth that the warm-up has been difficult for everyone. The wind was massive out of turn 2 and then in another part of the track, but yeah, guys will enjoy also in this situation. We have an amazing track despite the weather, so we will try to make it success.
You will see how much the riders love racing at Phillip Island. Is it true amongst the rider group?
Yeah, it's a super extreme track, or you love it or you hate it. It's not midterm, no? So I love it. I like a lot to ride on this track, so hopefully we get to a good race and yeah, to the last three rounds.
So well today, mate. Thank you. Romy there, world champion in the MotoGP class, riding with the Honda team. Today we're going to chat with Alex Rins, the winner here of the Grand Prix. One of only 2 riders in the field today to have said they've won the Phillip Island Grand Prix. How much do you love coming back to Australia, Alex?
Coming to Australia, to the island, I really like. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite tracks. Days like today with this wind, it's not one of my favorite ones, but yeah, let's just enjoy to show to the guys that they are here, that set the fair, from that conference the other day. So let's see when can it down.
Looks like Yamaha is making fantastic progress. Maybe a bit of chat about the wind being a good thing for Yamaha today.
Let's see. The bike was quite unstable this morning on the warm-up, but he's working on that. Good opportunity for Jack here in front of the home ground, but yeah, let's see.
Best luck to the mate. Let's go over and get a quick word with Ralph Hernandez as they're starting to load in the shirt cannons. I think we're not too far away from firing some prizes up into the crowd. Ralph Hernandez did an amazing job yesterday aboard his track house at Prix. Well done yesterday, taking home a medal. Can you do it over the longer distance today?
for sure we will try. I'm very happy because always to ride here in Phillip Island is very nice, and if you get one result like that, always it's a fantastic feeling. So yeah, today in the warm up I feel again super comfortable with the bike. The wing was a little bit difficult for 2 or 3, but anyway I feel comfortable to make the race.
With a lot of fans here in Australia of Tracker because of the NASCAR program as well. So are you feeling that fan base here in Australia?
Yes, I feel also that we need to get some good results because in NASCAR they are making an amazing job. So we need to make something similar, and we are pushing for that.
Good luck today, mate.
Thank you.
Raul Banana does an amazing job. Back-to-back sprint podiums and doing an incredible time on his bike in qualifying yesterday. Gets close to seeing boys where they've just got back on the bus after firing some prizes up into the crowd. Alex Marquez doing a wonderful job sitting second in the championship, hopefully locking away that here today. And also Sherman Aldeguer, who was the most recent Grand Prix winner, still riding the waves. I know it's a difficult day yesterday, but such a wonderful time in Indonesia.
Yeah, yesterday was a difficult day, but today we have another chance. I arrived here with the last Grand Prix with yes, extra motivation, but difficult track for a rookie rider with the win, with the MotoGP completely different, but nothing. Today we will see the win go a little bit down because it was a difficult warm-up, but we will see. I'm ready.
What happened with your little moment yesterday?
Nothing. I was on the limit, trying to recover some position. I know that the rear tire and a little push in the front, and I crashed. But physical, all perfect. That is an important point, and thank you.
We'll take over and grab Alex here as well. Difficult day yesterday in qualifying, but bounced back nicely in the sprint race. It sounded like tyre choice was maybe the problem for you, Alex. Is that right?
Yeah, the front tire choice was not the best one, but we suffered, but you know, we were able to take it quite in a good way. So we tried today to make the right choice. We'll see if the win will go down a little bit because the warm-up was quite difficult. But yeah, we'll try our best as always and try to extract the maximum from this weekend.
We're coming up to Stona Corner. This is 200 kilometres per hour, mid-corner speed. Were you getting a big crosswind here earlier today?
Yeah, it was not really nice. Honestly speaking, you know, was bad for one, from 2 to 3. But anyway, it's for everybody and we stood up.
Oh, no, good luck. Thank you. Chance to lock away second in the championship. You boys are taking a moment to try and hide from the wind. I might come down and speak to Bobby. You're just going to come up to us, thanks Bobby. The pole man is back. Similar story to Alex, maybe to you in the race yesterday with tyre choice, but that pole lap, mate, it was absolutely electric. You're still riding the wave off that amazing lap yesterday?
Yeah, it was a good lap, but the race I took the medium from, that was completely my mistake. From turn 2 in the lap 1, I knew that I made a mistake, but yeah, let's see today. It's so windy, so tire choice will be quite easy, but let's see how we can warm them up. But yeah, let's see if the wind comes down because it's also first lap with that wind. It's quite easy to make a collision and then riding is difficult, but let's see if we can manage.
It's not just the chance of wind, there's also a small chance of rain for later today as well. Your thoughts on that?
I don't care. I mean, of course I prefer the sun, I mean dry, but you know, it's raining for everyone, but of course I prefer to dry.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Brother Quartararo did an amazing job putting that bike on pole with the quickest lap ever here at Phillip Island. It's stuck into the K2 boys. Grab pole Spargo, who's done an amazing job. Hey, welcome back straight into the top 10. I don't think I've seen any rider smiling more than you this week, and you're having a great time.
I'm just trying to take that opportunity and enjoy it at maximum because I don't know when I'm going to jump the bike again. So now it's a nice opportunity here, especially in Phillip Island, one of my favorite tracks. And you know, enjoying this weather because normally we have this rainy weather and very cold weather. With this weekend we are enjoying more or less good weather apart from this wind. But you know, it's a good weekend.
That's some amazing memories and times here in Australia over the journey, haven't you? Just tell us about how much it's a pleasure to ride a MotoGP bike around this place.
Yeah, it's special. Back in home when I was, before to come here, I was in New York with some friends, and I was explaining them what is the race here in Phillip, and I was showing them some pictures of the straight, looking at the sea, and some images from the top where you see all the sea and all that, and it's amazing, it's unbelievable. So I was explaining this, and I was just full of joy, and looking forward to race here. So it's a nice opportunity and super grateful. So let's bring a good show to these people.
Amazing job yesterday. Top 10 every session so far, so we'll see you in the race.
Thank you very much.
Progress, got that big smile going here this weekend. We'll sneak in and have a word to Pedro just next to him. He's got a big smile on his face because you've got a pretty fast bike. You're playing around with some upgrades this week. Have you stuck to those upgrades for the races?
Well, yeah, more or less. Let's see how it's going because it looks like today with the wind, everything was becoming more difficult for everyone. But quite happy about the race yesterday and also with the video also the warm up for this. Let's see what's going on in the race.
Yeah, no, we didn't get you in the Grand Prix last year, sadly out of action from the Saturday. So how do you think you'll go over the longer distance here?
Well, for sure with the medium rear tire will help everything. It's true that will be a record management, but I think we are ready.
All right, best luck today.
Thank you much.
And Pedro Acosta maybe checking in for a race win here today. Frankie Morbidelli's had a bit of a difficult time of things as well. So Miguel Oliveira will grab for a quick moment down here as well. We saw you on the 88 yesterday. No, exactly. I saw you in the hood and I thought it was Franco. You're riding the Jack Miller train with him here this week, mate. How much have you appreciated just watching the fan base with Jack here today?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have, to be the single rider on the grid to have the whole team. It's pretty amazing. It's a special feeling and gives you that extra boost seeing all your people cheering up for you. So yeah, definitely happy for him.
Did you had to learn something bike setup wise or anything off Jack that you can use to your advantage today?
Look, there's these weekends where the guy is just fast, and whatever you try to replicate, it doesn't quite go your way. So yeah, Jack is fast this weekend, so hopefully he can have a good one today.
Thanks, Miguel.
Thank you.
Get it. We'll get turn around and get on Tucker. Yeah, exactly. I get off the back of that one. Sorry, mate. Joe, I'll get a quick word off you because you are a Grand Prix winner here. What does it take to win at the island?
Amazing. It's a truck, and I was really much instructor when I got my first victory there with the I was just thinking I could not write it better.
It was windy. So, yeah, 2 years ago it was the windy race. Can you do it again in the wind here?
I don't know. I'm getting to 2 weekends, so if I can catch a good top 10 would be good enough. Instead if I have to surprise and find a good setup for the race. But it's taking a long time to catch back the confidence from the bike. So I hope a good race and even if we have a strong win on the bike.
Best of luck today. Great to have John Zarco back here with Honda. We've got some of the KTM boys. Looks like a Navy Pasadena down there firing some prizes up into the crowd. We'll go again. Franco, well, we've been talking about him just a moment ago. The VR46 bike, there was a difficult start to the weekend in practice one, and he built the confidence back from that moment, Franco.
No, not really. We are trying to work. We've been trying to work in order to improve the feeling throughout the weekend, but nothing really helped us. Okay, we got better and better, but we're not there, unfortunately. But let's see, first of all, how the condition is going to be, and we'll try to have fun.
What's that feeling like when you lose confidence on a motorcycle? How do you get it back?
The next question. It's pretty difficult, especially on such a tricky track, condition-wise and layout-wise. So over here, it's pretty difficult. It's definitely not the place to struggle with the feeling, but it's our case. We will try to push it through.
Best of luck today.
Thank you.
We'll step over and get Pecco, who's just next to him. Speaking of confidence on a Ducati, he's going to hold on to here. Hey Pecco, hey mate. We're ripping through the Hayshed. What a cool part of the racetrack this is. But he's talking through the warm-up and the bike swap. Did you have any success swapping bikes?
Honestly, not a very good warm-up for me. We had stunning beautiful bikes, and we just really solid for that.
Any more luck coming your way, hopefully for the race today? You've got the grid penalty to deal with as well. Can we see you fighting for a top 10?
I don't think so, but let's see.
Tough weekend for you, mate. We'll see you soon. We're approaching Lucy Heights, which is probably going to be the windiest part of the track. I'm going to sneak around. We'll see if we can find where Jack Miller's going. So I wouldn't mind getting Jack. He's waving to the fans as we approach the top. Hey, Jack, just sitting around for a quick chat, brother. So he missed the podium by just 66 thousandths today, a longer distance race. Bit of wind around, maybe a bit of rain around. Yeah, it's all pointing in the right direction for you, mate, this week. You feeling it?
Yeah, feeling good. Lost my voice throughout the course of the weekend, but no, it's unreal. You know, it's been awesome to be home with the home fans. You know, they've been phenomenal all weekend, and I don't think any rain's going to be there. It's going to be a bit gusty, but that should make the race interesting. We had good pace this morning, warm up, considering the wind. Like I said all along, you know, the ending hand is pretty good in the wind, so keen to just get underway. What is it, 3 o'clock, making 3 o'clock to get out on track, and yeah, try and see what the other boys have got.
Taking more time to enjoy it now that you're, you know, a bit older and a bit wiser?
Man, I'm an old man now, yeah, absolutely. No, it's awesome, though. The reception this weekend, as it always is here in Phillip Island, but, you know, this year hasn't been easy. We've had some ups and some downs, but, you know, the crowds come out in full force, and it's awesome to be able to secure something to cheer for. So, no, I'm beyond stoked, and, you know, with Joel on pole and then on second on the grid, shaping up to be a good day for everybody.
Yeah, to chat through those two boys after that?
Briefly, you know, they've all been very busy home Grand Prix teams, but no, wishing them all the best of luck.
Well, how good this, mate. There's a huge crowd here at Phillip Island. They all want a bit of Jack's time, and he has done an incredible job at harnessing all that energy here this week, and we'll hopefully see him up on the step today. We'll see if we get Luke and Reedy real quick. If I remember rightly, 1 year ago we were talking about the birth of your baby, so it must be one this week, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in October, the 12th of October. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. 2 days ago she started working.
Wow, big steps, and it's an amazing thing, isn't it? But your weekend in the Honda, how are you tracking so far?
Well, we're struggling a little bit in this track. Let's see how we can handle in the race with the wind. It's so important the start and the first 2 corners. If we are in the top group fighting for the third place, then it can be a nice race. Big fight, big group, as always here in Phillip. So we try to enjoy.
Feels like the Honda's getting better. That's certainly how it looks watching from afar. Do you feel like that on the bike?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was feeling like this even before that the results start to come, but since structuring, our trend is super positive. We need to keep working like this because still other manufacturers are far for us, but we are getting closer every day.
No, thanks for the chat.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to Angelina. Angelina, well done, mate. Cheers, mate. Michele Furo, let's have a chat to Michele because it's so cool seeing this guy back. Dressed appropriately for the wind, I might add. What, 2012 was the last time we had a GP for you? That was a CRT bike back then. So I want to know, can we still purchase the CRT bike from Mark Marquez's bike this week? Is that allowed?
It's a long time ago when this is my last time in Phillip Island, but it's an incredible track, beautiful track, but with the MotoGP it's not simple because the speed is very high. Also the wind did not help, but also the rider is fast, but I'm enjoying, but I'm disappointed for the speed of Mark, but I try to do my best, also for the development of bike that is a different track compared to Europe track where I'm set we check Bulgaria. It's a different solution for the future and I enjoy every time I track.
Being a flyaway round, it's hard to replace bikes in 2 weeks. You actually get to ride the bike that Mark was on?
Yes, it's okay. The bike was changed, but the rider is changed different. But I'm enjoying and I try my best also with him and this season is okay for Mark, but very disappointed for the rider is not for the one to get the group and at the end of the season possible comeback on the last race.
Thank you for the chat.
Thank you. Ciao.
quickly spin an A around for a quick chat as well. Maybe the rider of the race yesterday was 20th, I think it was, in the sprint, mate. Are you feeling like you can do that again today?
Yeah, yes, at the end, during the sprint, I think better. And, well, Saturday is very busy, but, well, we are ready to give 100% and,
Alright, best of luck. We're going to send these guys down to the Hero Walk in a moment. Hope you enjoyed that. A little look at this Grand Prix circuit, hearing from the riders. Certainly the big topic here is chatting about these wind conditions, but it's going to be an exciting race. Will we get the rain? Will the wind stick around? Will the Aussies feature in Moto3 and Moto2? All to play for here in MotoGP as we get set for the Australian Grand Prix, 3 p.m. local time today.
Bye.
located just over 100 kilometres from Melbourne, the state of Victoria. It's the 2025 Australian Grand Prix, the fastest flying Phillip Island. Bravery and skill get big rewards out of circular guys on the summer challenge of the season. They held the first Aussie GP back in 1989. A paradise for the major and motorsport. There is no place like Phillip Island on the calendar. It's time to race in MotoGP. Good morning and welcome to Phillip Island. Welcome to 2025 Australian Grand Prix. The pretty windy and wild race day 19 coming your way, of course. The race programme was put back by 1 hour to try and avoid the worst of some strong, powerful, gusting winds blowing off the nearby Bass Strait. It's been pretty overcast since we first arrived here this morning. See there, blowing in from a southeasterly direction, gusts of around 28-30 kilometres an hour as we get set for what could be a monumental day for Aussie fans, because in all three of our Grand Prix classes we have home crowd heroes starting from the front row of the grid. Joel Kelso, the home hero MOTO3 yesterday on pole position, the 22-year-old from Darwin for just the second time in his World Championship career. What a Saturday was for Kelso yesterday. Senna Aegis on the podium here 1 year ago in front of his home crowd in Moto2. Well, he starts on the front row of the grid, also in the media race. And let's not forget, of course, it's the big one. MotoGP coming up at 3 PM local time this afternoon. Jack Miller on the Prix Yamaha. He also starts from the front row, close to a medal yesterday in the 13-lap Tissot sprint. So, Kelso looking to be the first Aussie to win in Moto3 since Jack Miller all the way back in 2014. He's the first Aussie to ever qualify on pole position in front of his home crowd here in Moto3 at this magnificent Phillip Island circuit. He's joined on the front row by our newly crowned world champion. He got the job done in style last time out over the Antonio Rueda victory in that shortened Indonesian Grand Prix. Enough to see Rueda crowned the 9th Spaniard to capture the Moto3 World Champion, the 6th KTM rider to do so. The first though in 4 years, Pedro Acosta back in 2021. Luca Veneta, he completes a front row of the grid. What feels like being a pretty wide open 21-lap battle coming your way here down under. There is still some pretty strong gusts blowing around this part of Australia. Going to be a big factor in this Moto3 battle. Kelso leads the field through the side of that, just hopefully lead the field at the end of 21 laps here. Matt Burnham is going to be in the comedy box with Jack Applegard down in pit lane. It feels like Lewis, the Australian fans have already got their what it's worth with 3 home heroes on the front row of the grid in all 3 categories. None better than Joel Kelso, starting from the front of the grid for the first time in 20 races in Indonesia last year, just second pole position. You just know that Kelso is all in for the home win.
3 Aussies as you say today, all looking for some home magic. Joel Kelso, you are first up, going from pole position in first of 2025 versus Moran last season. What a time for Joel to get in, has been on the podium here in quite windy conditions actually back in 2023, albeit in wet conditions. And we do use the phrase win it or bin it quite a lot in Grand Prix circles, not always fitting, but this does have the feel of win or bust for Joel Kelso today.
Kelso has led the last 4 Grand Prix in 2025 without converting any of those leads into a podium. Only world champion Rueda and the teenage rookie sensation Matt Keeler have actually spent more time in the front of Grand Prix so far in Moto3. And Dan Kelso, what a place to do it. What a way it would be to capture his first ever Grand Prix success in front of an expected but little bit windswept home crowd here at this wonderful Phillip Island. Thankfully, it looks like we're going to avoid any possible rain disruption. There was rain forecast for race day here today, but that's not going to sweep in, hopefully, until late into the evening. We imagine Joel Kelso is victorious. He's going to be passing along into the night here in nearby towns. Is Joel, because we know that he does love well, but good Sunday night ease off, win, lose or draw.
Yeah, we were in a top-notch environment here back in that 2023 Sunday afternoon when we were all going home early when the sprint was cancelled and John Kelso was the hero's reception when he walked into that particular establishment. The man who actually gave the win today. Australia has won the Australian Grand Prix in MotoGP. Jack Miller back in 2014 but haven't taken victory at home since. Here is the cheap threat though, without any question, with the pressure released from the shoulders of Jose Antonio Rueda. Let's get a word though from the pole sitter and the home favourite, John Kelso on the grid with Jack.
Joel, pole position here at Phillip Island. Can you get any better than this so far? How are you feeling ahead of the big one?
Yeah, pole position, good time position. Bloody windy out there already, close to the end, but everyone's in the same boat, so let's go fly tender, mate.
What are the tactics?
Can't extend it. Good luck. See you, mate.
Well, he said he was going to send it in his own very special tone. We just apologise. We have to for Joel's choice. Like, he's certainly pumped, he's certainly hyped up, isn't he, for this home Grand Prix. Jose Antonio was always then alongside him. 10th front row of the year. And it's the second and last 7 for the 19-year-old. Now, just David Alonso, Romano Finati and Juan Mir have won more Moto3 Grand Prix than Rueda, who's banging form, isn't he? Not lower than second in the last 4 starts, is the new world champion.
Looking at David Almanza here, back of the 6th row in 18th place. The reason you're looking at him is at the top of your screen, causing a crash in the Indonesian Grand Prix when he took out Tayo Rosafo and Alvaro Carpe. He will take a long lap penalty. How long lap penalty was because it's the story of today, isn't it? Across our 3 Grand Prix classes. 3 crashes already this weekend though for Almanza.
Luca Lanetta, first front row starting 7th since the Aragon Grand Prix. 4th front row of his career for the 19-year-old Italian. Let's get the thoughts from Luca, who joins Jack.
Luca, it's great to see you back on the podium. Last time out, I'm sure that's given you a huge boost of confidence. Now onto the front row again. Excited?
Yes, I'm super excited. We are doing a fantastic job this weekend. I really love this track, especially when it's not raining. So today I will enjoy for sure. There is a bit of wind, but I think we will manage it in the right side. We will see. I think we made a good tire choice, and we will see the race. For sure will be a group race, but I'm ready to fight and we are fast, so let's enjoy.
Where are the most difficult areas with the wind?
For sure they are turn 2, turn 6, maybe the most difficult corners, but I'm ready for it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Jack, thanks to Luca Lanetta, the Southern Loop turn 2 and Siberia turn 6. As close as you get to the ocean here, that's what you're going to get a bit of bumping in those particular parts of the circuit. Second in Mandalika, Lanetta is first, podium in 7th. British Grand Prix, first time in 3 years. Last time out, 2 Italians shared a Moto3 podium for Dennis Podge and Riccardo Rossi on the box together in a Burra Ram, of course. Lanetta joined on the box last time by Guido, who is first champion of top 3.
Championship still very much up for grabs. Even if Rueda has already wrapped up the title, Angel Piqueras a moment ago, he's certainly coming as a threat from the teammates of this man, Max Quiles, to 14 points adrift now. Quiles does start a couple of rows ahead of Piqueras, but Quiles out-qualified there by his supersonic teammate, Joel Esteban, who's in for Dennis Podge in absence, for all reasons, pneumonia this weekend.
Shake hands off Podge and teammate, 150th Grand Prix start. Weekend is finally class at turn 2. Esteban, that is a career best in qualifying for the Spaniards in the 7th position. You can see there just from the trackside flags, just how still gusting that wind is around the 4.448 kilometres, 2.764 mile Phillip Island circuit. Here is Max Quiles, still very much game on in that battle for second in the World Championship. Quiles has had a tough introduction to life here at Phillip Island, a real bruising crash on Friday afternoon at turn 8. 8 podiums though in the last 12 before today, and qualified by the top 10 in all 15 starts so far in 2025. Going to be one to watch, he said, aggressive coming through from the back of row 3.
So it's Guido Piqueras, who crashed in qualifying yesterday. He goes from 10th place. There are a pair of Italians actually on the floor, but right next to Guido Piqueras is Stefano Netta, who very nearly finished on the podium here last year with 2 long lap penalties. What can you do from P11 to Jack?
Yeah, Stefano, you've got brilliant form around this Phillip Island circuit. You clearly love it. Great to see you back up here fighting at the front, ready for this one.
Thank you. Yeah, ready. It's a circuit that I love. So we are ready to fight, to enjoy. We start in a good position, so we can fight immediately and enjoy a lot.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That's right, guys. I'm really sport the course to you about Lanetta and Netta. Best qualifying in 16 in Sabtu. He set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix here last year. It did Netta break Jack Miller's 10-year-old fastest lap benchmark by well over a second.
Jacob Wilson there, who has a lot to prove in many respects. That is home Grand Prix in their family affair for the Wilsons on the grid. Still fighting for a ride on the grid next year. The sequence of that is by continuing on the same form as Phillip last time out, winning some big career best as well. Wilson goes to 13.
But Max Figueres looking to power his way through the back of the third row in 9th place to try and strengthen this fifth second in the World Champs. What a story that would be for the rookie. Let's get the thoughts of the boss. He goes to Warren with Jack.
Yeah, there was some very late work going on Max's side, just adjusting the handlebars ever so slightly. Well, what happened on the warm-up lap? He's had some big crashes this weekend, so still fine-tuning things.
Today the conditions changed with a lot of wind. Now he says something to improve in the bike, and we try the little details to help him for today. But anyway, today is one day when you need to be water and to see this condition, and it's difficult situation for every rider, and also more in Moto3, but he's ready for race.
How is Max? 100% after the crash?
Yeah, he's 100%, and today is one day to take experience.
Good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Nico Droll. Thanks to Jack. 5 minutes then to race start. Chiles has led in 11 of 14 Grand Prix so far this year. You expect to see him try and work his way through very quickly. It's a very strong and powerful tailwind down the start-finish straight. Here down that Garden straight. Literally always had a big effect here in Phillip Island, and with a tailwind blowing these rocky MOTO3 bikes down the straight. You could see riders giving outside of the top 6 to leading at some stage into that new corner. Literally more waiting here, more coming today. Such a strong tailwind down the Garden straight.
Not going to be easy Grand Prix to escape it. You are in front of the race, no matter what kind of pace you have. So Yamanaka, unlikely he's going to be escaping away at the front of the field. He needs to get there first, coming from 16th place on the grid. Of course, cost badly with a long lap penalty last weekend, where he still finished inside the top 8, but of course he's back in the front of the race with Rico Pini, who of course escaped Yamanaka when he served his long lap penalty and went all the way to the podium.
Never had 5 top 10s in a row in his Grand Prix career. That has Yamanaka. That's a bit of a carrot dangling in front of the face of the 23-year-old Japanese rider. He's been consistent points in the last 12 Grand Prix champs, finishes 9 top 10s, so he's been racking up the big points, going places on occasions, climbing up to 8th in the World Championship. Front right on the grid then for this 21-lap Australian Grand Prix. Look at Lanetta flying away from the 4th front row of his Grand Prix career. Your new world champion, Jose Antonio Rueda, starts from second. What a nation expects. Can an Aussie deliver home success in Moto3 for the first time in 11 long years? Can Kelso be the king of the island in Moto3? Goal starts from pole.
His home Grand Prix, and Joel Kelso has promised to send it from pole position in first of 2025. World champion Jose Antonio Rueda and Luca Lanetta joining on the front row. Lanetta's first front row since Aragon. It's an equal best qualifying of 2025. The tyre for Sabtu is fourth. Scott Mateo, Battalion Alvaro, car paper company. Joel Esteban, who's in fourth, and it's 47th. Career best for him ahead of Andrew Fernandez and Max Chiles. Guido Pini had a crash in Q2 yesterday. He starts 10th out of Stefano Neffa and Marco Morelli, who took his MLab Honda through Q1 to 12th. Jacob Wilson and Kel Figuera for Nicola Carraro on the 5th row. From Yuta Yamanaka, Cormac Buchanan and David Almanza. 3 crashes this weekend, and he has a long lap penalty today. Brian Uriarte, the Red Bull Rookies champion, makes his debut from 19th. He's making a debut in place of the Engineering. Munoz and USA has got Austin, the British pair, next to him. Valentin Peroni returns from injury in 22nd, ahead of Noah Zekbi and Richard Loosely, Petrico Boazri, and Ricardo Rossi in 26th, who also has a long lap penalty.
Shocking weekend so far for Rossi. His worst qualifying in nigh on 4 years for Valencia all the way back in 2021. Warm up underway then here in Australia in increasingly windy conditions. Can Kelso conquer home soil here? Phillip Island does tend to deliver some absolute classics in Moto3. All the way back to the last time an Australian won here in Moto3 at Phillip Island. Podium with Jack Miller, Alex Marquez, Alex Rins, still the second closest lightweight world championship podium in history. Two of the top 10 closest lightweight world championships have been right here at Phillip Island in 1998 and 2014. 3/1000 of a second between Rins and Bengales in 2013. The seventh closest lightweight world championship finish in history. And 2018 was the closest top 50 in lightweight world championship. Just 2.1 seconds covering the top 50 riders. We tend to get some big battles here and down under. Let's hope we're going to get another one over 21 laps.
Interesting information on Pirelli Tissot tyres. All the KTMs are on the SC2 medium front tyre. All the Hondas are on the SC1 soft front tyre. Rear tyre, interesting though. Vast majority has gone for the medium option rear tyre, but we have got Keyless, Pini and Andres Fernandez towards the front who are on the harder rear tyre.
Two of those, Fernandez and Keyless are on that third row, 8th and 9th respectively. He's going to be a little bit beaten up, is Keyless. It was a real cage-rattling crash he had on Friday at the hay shed, or the old hay shed. Fourth, over the line in Mandalika, and the top 5 finishes in what has been an outstanding debut season. So, feels like a long time ago. It is a long time ago, isn't it? 11 years since an Australian won a Moto3 race here on home soil. Jack Mir, I'm sure, will be watching intently to see if it is Joel Kelso that can pick up the baton, be the first Aussie winner here at Phillip Island since 2014. It was some battle that day, wasn't it? With Alex Marquez and Alex Rins looking podium on that day. Those three all jousting in MotoGP coming up later on this afternoon over 27 laps. Green, the flag though has cleared, and about race day 19 about to commence here at Phillip Island with Kelso on pole for the Aussie fans. It's lights out and we're racing in Moto3 here down under in Australia. Only under away to finish sharp on the one. The new world champion going to get the drop immediately on pole side of Kelso. Forasato's been dynamite away from 4th place with his equal best qualifying of the season. Forasato finished on the double figure 2nd place. The next day back in 4th. Trying some of that now with Forasato on the inside of Kelso as they go to the sublimit with the world champion Remain, who's wide, really wide, and Kelso will see his inside line going through too. Kelso leads his home Grand Prix.
Really good start from Keyless. He's already up into 5th place. Andres Fernandez had a bit of a shocker. He got William off the line with his Leopard Honda. He's just up behind Carpe, then 7th and 8th.
Vanessa going a long way around through Stone. That will set him up to the inside line on Forasato into third. What was Keyless? You just knew he was going to be ultra aggressive. He takes up 5 places already as Keyless. 9th to 4th.
Right, also picked up there on the outside of turn 4. He's dropped back through the field on this first lap. Bit of a punchy first lap that he did. 12th at the moment, but I think he's going to be further than that when it comes to the next section. But already, Kelso and Rueda looking to put some space in themselves and the chasing group behind.
Let's take the Keyless who actually looked like he was about to take 3rd place on the 58 bike away from Forasato, but with Keyless seeing the inside line going through middle, that pushed Vanessa from 4th back down to 6th place. Down the hill we go in turn 10 for the first time. Oh, Fernandez coming from a long way back there, wasn't he, on the 31 bike on the Leopard on it, trying to make up for some early lost ground. Fernandez is now back up into 7th.
All the trust in that top front tyre, wasn't he there? Fernandez, one of the other big losers on this first lap was Bertelli, who started on the 2nd row in 5th. He's already back to 12th place.
Let's get now to Slipstream City as they power down the garden. They've all these hockey on these Moto3 bikes. Kelso with a bit of fresh air directly behind him. He's not going to get Slipstream on the run down to the third corner. Forasato has got through on Rueda up into 2nd place. Keyless after a super first lap. Oh, Forasato goes in on that the tailwind, just pushing him into that braking zone. You're going to have to adjust your braking markers here with Vanessa and Keyless get a little bit busy going through the southern loop.
That was Esteban, I think, that he was getting stuck into there. Keyless just up ahead of all that, and Esteban pushed back down the order. Wilson actually did recover. He's back up to 7th place, so he did get the benefit of some slipstream into turn 1.
And then Price goes a long way around on the outside of Forasato going through the southern loop with Rawson. Picks up Vanessa. Beautiful move by Fernandez. Set him up on the outside. Forasato going through the Stone corner, put him on the inside line for Miller corner, and Fernandez then up into 4th place. place from 8th on the grid.
Well, Kelso promised to send it. Wilson's taking it too. Now up into the top 6. You can see the top 2 are starting to break clear. This group already splintering at a very early stage in this Grand Prix. And it's very easy to, if it gets dropped, it's very difficult to then jump back on with that tailwind.
Also now leading for 5 Grand Prix in a row. Can he find himself as Ralston when he is going all in here, isn't he, Jacob Ralston? Shop window time for the Aussie, desperately trying to find a ride on the 2026 grid. 13th he started this home Grand Prix. Now up into the top 5, which would equal his career best. As Fernandez starts on the inside of Tillett, into 12. Oh, that was bold. That was brave, wasn't it? The extreme from Fernandez. He made it work, and now he's up into P3.
We're already the best part of a second adrift though. The top 2 exchange fastest laps. Ralston sets the fastest lap for the Grand Prix now on a 35.64. He's sandwiched between Tillett and Fursato. So Tillett comes out of that three-way battle ahead. But Ralston is not taking any prisoners, is he? Through to a corner. Ralston up to 4th now.
What you call going to broke in there as far as Bolton's concerned. Very, very soon we might have 3 territories at home fans. It could be a fairy tale day. It's for the Aussie crowd because we might have very quickly 2 Australians potentially on the podium here in Phillip Island. Still that gap of around 0.3 of a second being managed by Kelso back to Rueda. Carpe this time around sends it on the inside of Fursato as Almanza comes in for his long lap. That's all of course courtesy of his man Liga indiscretion 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Carpe did get Fursato into middle. Carpe up the 6.
Almanza had already lost ground before he served that long lap penalty, so you are trying to mitigate that. He hasn't gone the right way about it. Untitled Chapter also to the Jefferson. Brian Oriarte, the Red Bull rookie champion, is up into 13th place on his debut. He's up ahead of his teammate Prix already.
You know what wrong? He's trying to put the on the inside of Fernandez down there. He's really close to maybe a Fernandez is a little bit too good. Going through the Haitian of turn 8, Bolton at the better corner speed, but then as they climbed up through the ice, they dropped down to the wide entry for turn 10. Fernandez just a little bit quicker than the KTM directly behind him. Big gap there now that's emerged between Kelso and Rueda at the front of this Grand Prix, although as you can see, Kelso's healthy advantage is 9.5 seconds at the start of this lap has come down quite considerably. Rueda trying to pick up some slipstream here with the tailwind as well, pushing him towards the Dillon corner. Carpe's fastest ride on circuit right now with a 1:35.323. Carpe started his Grand Prix 6, that's where he's currently running.
0.3 of a second faster than Kelso was going, but at the moment there is still that second and a big gap between Rueda and Adrian Fernandez. Keen to see what Wilson's up to just behind him, and he's looking to attack. One on the defending, one on the attacking further back, as Kelso now makes his way through Donut corner with the world champion right on his rear tyre.
Without lead so far this weekend, and Carabas second in the world championship. Very little of him in qualifying in practice, and very little of him so far in this Australian Grand Prix. Currently down in 9th place, only 14 points clear of course to then in about a second in the world championship.
Wilson's taken Fernandez out of picture. He's just looking out the window into the corner. Wilson up into 3rd place. Fernandez has taken him back though into Siberia, and I think Wilson actually might be down the road. Yellow flags are out in sector 2, and looking to the distance at Siberia, there are yellow flags waving. I fear Jacob Wilson, confirmation around driving street, has crashed out of his own Grand Prix.
Well, you've got to see that he was in winning or mini mode. That's a real tough one to take. Oh, he's so angry, so frustrated. There was a career best on the offing there as Fursato properly picked up that down into turn 10. Fernandez now in a real battle for 3rd place with Carpe as well. Next out of the front are Kelso and Rueda will just check their advantage as they come now out of turn 12. Oh, out of the street there. Big time out of the seat was for Geras. Oh, he was out of the sea as he got on the gas on the 36 bike coming through turn 12. Got to be careful here because that grass will still be down from some early weekend rain. Big steer that road ball for Geras. Put him down to 20th place.
Still come over the finish line, yes, 23rd for Geras. It cost him 8 seconds coming out of that final corner. So this is effectively a 2-horse race down for victory in this Australian Grand Prix. The home hero versus the world champion.
That cost Geras a new set of underwear as well. That was going to the job in mind. Depending on what happens, cost him second in this world champion because that big mistake. Well now, the deficit gone from 14 to 5 points between Geras and Keeler. We've still got 16.5 laps remaining here in Phillip Island. It looks like the only man who's going to be able to deny Kelso that first home victory in MoTo3 here in 11 long years is going to be the world champion Rueda.
Yeah, there goes Geras. sailing off. He lost it quite early around the corner, kept it upright, not just on the track, but also on the ground on the wet grass. He then made his way down the main straight, not the optimal route down the Gardner Straight in that. See what other riders to keep a lookout for is this Team Group. Marco Morelli on the M-Lab Honda, just his 6th Grand Prix. The Argentine is going to Aspar next season as a regular in MotoGP. He's up into the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's a skill there to stay on 2 wheels. That was really scary. Further down, we've got Valentino Perone back up into the points, scoring place from 22nd on the grid. Of course, he missed a Mandalika after a real bruising practice crash. Left him out of contention. Now then, with some slipstream, we pick up 66 versus 99. This is the close to the Raiders been potentially the lineup. And move on Kelso as they start now down towards the third corner. Side by side we go. Kelso just seems to be breaking that a little bit later, but he will know from his pit wall. He will hear a Raiders KTM. But the world champion is up for another win here.
They are in a completely different race to everybody else. They exchange personal best, 35.4 versus 35.3. They are a second a lap quicker than the chasing group behind them, which is now led by the second Red Bull KTM machine. You see him in the back of the picture, the 83 of Carpe.
Yeah, any of the riders essentially to be able to do like 135 is out of this race now. Paul Jacob Rolls out early and Siberia. There is a massive gap in there now between this dominant top 2. Real strong battle in there, racing for the final place on the podium at the moment. It's being led by Carpe. He's in the third place on the lap of Edison Fernandez. Don't rule out the likes of Vanessa for Asato. Chiles, Esteban, Morelli, Vitelli, all still in this big battle.
Morelli did an outstanding job, as Renetta certainly puts plenty of trust in himself and in Forasato there. Oh, taking into the H-edge, 58 pace, 72. The two Aspar riders against side by side. Esteban's trying to go around the outside, and Chiles is all kicking off in this second group. They're all battling for a podium.
Forasato on Chiles now. Those two do not give a quarter, do they? Those two, if there's a pass to be made, if there's a gap to be pushed through, they will take it and some. Forasato they're now just trying to put a bit of daylight up to himself and Chiles and Esteban as well, the two Aspar riders just directly behind him. Forasato should get some great distance as well here behind the net. But once again with the slipstream, how good is Kelso on the break? This time he has a look to his right hand side because he sees a Raiders Red Bull KTM machine burst past him in top gear, top speed at the end of that Gardner Straight. And for the first time then, as we start lap 7, lap 6 of 21 it is, Rueda, and that leads this Grand Prix.
So is Kelso now prepared to sit behind Rueda and have a look at the 99 and see where he's stronger, or is he going to try and attack back straight away? Does he have the performance to attack back straight away? Is Rueda just going to be able to clear up on the front of the field and potentially won't stop into distance for his 10th win of 2025? No question who wants it more in this leading battle, but is Rueda just too good?
Never alongside Valentino Rossi, Pato, Guzzi, Marquez, Juan Mir, the only other riders, lightweight world champion, and more wins in a single season, more history seconds for Rueda, who has carved his way through the record books throughout this incredible 2025 campaign. It's been a tendency in 2025 when he sits the front for him just to be able to manage the race perfectly. Only at this stage of the Grand Prix, Kelso looks like capable of giving any kind of late-on headache. Rueda already 10th and a half clear he is of Kelso through the third split.
Chiles once again with a look to the inside of Forasato. Every time he looks to his right, coming through turn 10, he's got an Aspar KTM in the way, either Esteban or Chiles. He's now sandwiched between the pair of them. Chiles 6 and Esteban in 8.
Kelso too far back, as you can see the top of the scoring three. Pick up any obvious literally one though. There's nothing wrong with the top speed of that level of them. To get KTM machine is that Kelso's a bit of a pocket rocket himself. In terms of physical stature, closes up onto the rear side, not close enough though to seize back at the lead. Behind the top 2 is this crawling pull safety backwards. He's now back in the hands of Andrew Fernandez on the 31 layer part on the all mid. Previous Carpe drops from his as they move into the southern loop.
They're all doing low 36s, as are Rueda and Kelso now. Of course, Rueda was quickly overtaking on that last lap. We saw him drop a place. It's the battle in the tail end of the points. This is the Almanza Buchanan group, 11 to 12 backwards, as we pick up this podium battle once again. There's a variety of lines to take. It's Bonetta on the inside of Fernandez, and Esteban once again rides around the outside of his teammate Chiles.
Saw when Rueda made that move at the end of the Gardner Straight a couple laps ago. Kelso a good one looking to his right now. What's Kelso just happy contention? Let Rueda have the advantage, have the lead. Oh, look at you those, Antonio. But just look at my rear side for 6-7 laps on now. Let's see what you've got at the front of this Grand Prix. Martinez and Esteban have to briefly check up there, going through turn 7 and 8, high-speed section around Phillip Island.
Well, Esteban, of course, was regular with that far on this grid last year. Perhaps came a little bit too early in his career. He's been back in the Junior GP World Championship this season, but proving here this weekend as a superstar in place for Dennis Boggia. But the 78 still has plenty to offer as a Moto3 Grand Prix rider. Here is our Mansa, who, of course, is recovering from his long lap penalty and potentially could jump back onto this podium battle.
On net runs in Cannon, and close to home Grand Prix. This is going to be for the Minggu Cannon, of course, his first point in 9 Grand Prix since the factory ring to Cannon in an excellent 13th place at the moment. He's got Oscar behind him as they fan out for 5 abreast. It's scary braking zone into New Zealand corner. Fernandez then has got himself back up into the head of this second group. Rueda cannot shake off Kelso. They can still keep your eye on those lead to the top of the 43. It's some battle this, isn't it? Edge of the seat battle for the final place on these podiums. This goes all the way down from Fernandez to Morelli in 10th spot.
We've got 2 Hondas at the front of this group, then a bunch of KTMs behind. Purasato on his Honda, and Jacob Ralston, McCurd, on screaming by team and by family. Understandably gutted, but demonstrated in the time he wants this Grand Prix just what a fine talent he is when everything's working in the right direction. Such a shame that it ended the way it did.
Right here at Siberia, he went down the 5, thinking he knew he was going to go all in for the podium, maybe even better. He looked like out of the chasing group. If anybody should run the paces, Rueda and Kelso at the front, it was Ralston before he missed the dust. Fernandez then, the net on the 58 right there. How close was that going through 8? And then 9 is the 83 of Carpe that's in defense mode right now.
Yeah, Vanessa was wide. Once again, look at Esteban. He's right around the outside of his teammate. Once again, it might work out for him on that occasion. But Lanetta was wide through the hay shed. That puts him on a really tight inside line through 50 heights. Loses all of his corner speed and saw Carpe in that particular instance right around the outside of it.
That's Rueda's biggest advantage we've seen over the line. 3/10 of a second. That was a 35.5 from Rueda on lap 9 as opposed to a 35.7 from Kelso. Back in the epic fight for third. Still Fernandez. Carpe there. Purasato just a little bit beaten up. Of course, this manner on Purasato into the third corner. Through the southern loop we go then. Carpe sharp end of the Grand Prix for quite some time, haven't we? Carpe's last podium was a brilliant second in Mugello. It's form in the second half of the campaign really deserting some of it. It's much more like the early 2025 version of Carpe.
Fernandez really struggling to hold that inside line into turn 1. A couple of Verona, he's gone way wide. He's found himself beaten into the loop by Carpe, who regains that third place. So they are now 7 seconds off the race lead. Just to again emphasise what a fine job the World Champion Rueda and the home of Kelso are doing out front.
Fernandez back into third. He got Carpe on the brakes going into the Miller corner. So once again, Fernandez and Carpe at the front of that second group, that big dog fight for third. They've exchanged overtakes already a couple of times on this current lap. Rueda looking so...
Around the outside, now right on the tail of his teammate once again as the asphalt. Ogiro continues to watch each other. Purasato wants a piece of it and wants to come back through. Gives you 6, 7 and 8, the 28, the 78 and the 72. Battle partway back through this group. This time though, Fernandez clear into Newham corner. Can hold it on line this time to keep the lead. This time he goes slightly wide again, and it is Carpe going to swing around the outside. Not on this occasion.
Great shot there at the lead 2 of Kelso. Having a massive hole put in the air ahead of him by Rueda's KTM. No protection whatsoever ahead of Rueda. He was exposed to the gusting winds off the nearby back straight. You can just see how much Kelso was able to close right up on the rear tyre of Rueda. 135.6 from Kelso. Fernandez and Carpe get busy once again going into that turn 3. As good as Carpe is going through 1 and 2. Fernandez has certainly got his measures on the base going into that turn 4. Fernandez then picks on V3 again.
So that Honda was stopping the 31 of Fernandez, but he did get it stopped into Miller corner, so he regains third place. Looking for a podium finish, or it would have been a podium finish. Potentially better last weekend, and he not colliding with David Munoz, but it was a performance that was good enough to secure himself a place with Leonard Honda for next season, where he will be joined by Guido Pini. His first further back down the field. He's had a tough afternoon, 16th.
Yeah, it's beautiful on the inside of Vanessa. Made that look so easy to see. Then down the hill on the brake, so easy to watch the fun out there when you're squeezing out full of front brake. Yeah, just on that with me, just sending my best wishes for a speedy recovery. His season over, sadly, after breaking a fever in that national collision with Adrian Fernandez last time out over in Mandy. Esteban now to come up briefly into the top six. He goes side by side, elbow to elbow, smashed that in pocket here. Down the start finish straight. He's been eaten alive here, hasn't he, in the slipstream by Purasato. He just managed to hold off Vanessa on the 58 line. At the front though, Rueda and Kelso, nothing between those two. Still the gap just under 0.3 of a second.
But you look in this second group, Fratelli on the other level of MCA. MCA is also in the thick of this battle. Once again though, Fernandez just can't hold it tight through two corners, just sails wide onto the curb on the outside and gives Carpe the run on it into Southern Loop. But Joey Fernandez is coming straight back through into Miller.
Essentially back-to-back points when finished Freddie O'Shea. Quiles on the inside. He saw Fernandez picking up Carpe. And that's Fernandez's favoured move into that turn 4. And with wide open tarmac ahead of him, Quiles took the pair of them. Payback coming immediately from Carpe on Fernandez into Siberia. Some fight this has been after the third place so far. At the moment, it's advantage Quiles, and crucially, it will move him if he stays as is into second place in the World Championship with Caravan, still stuck down at a lonely 20th.
Yeah, unlikely to get himself into the podium there. He's some 7 seconds off the back of Peroni, 19th and 20th. This was Quiles to take the advantage. He's seen this movie already into turn 4. He's seen on a number of occasions Fernandez and Carpe go side by side and said, hey, I fancy a piece of this. I'm going to pass both of you. Top left of screen, you can follow the top two. Rueda's lead is danger opening up to around half a second here as Fernandez and Carpe battle, but this time it's for P4.
Beautiful move once again, it's 12 and 4. Fernandez has been absolutely unreal. Into the slipstream we go. Quiles starts to the right-hand side of the circuit to try and break the screw behind him. Look at Vanessa with a 3 or 4 bike slipstream. Easy up into, ahead of Purasato and ahead of Carpe. Vanessa then now as they attack through turn 2, the sort of loop. Carpe just leans on his outside, going through this long radius. Second corner, getting a little bit pushed out to the paper. There goes Esteban. Those seem to favour some unconventional lines, I think it's fair to say, around this Phillip Island circuit.
Yeah, look at the creativity of Joel Esteban. It's certainly making him an entertaining rider to watch in this Grand Prix. He's on the outside now as we come into the Miller corner. He's around the outside of Alvaro Carpe and look at Vanessa. Esteban fearless in this Grand Prix.
Tell you what, Carpe was almost out of control there going into fourth. Picks up Vanessa now though going into Siberia. He was so late on the pitch there with Carpe on the XV bike. He has a bit of a shake of his head there. I think he just said, well, this is just getting a little bit too messy, a little bit too scrappy. Alman dragged himself back into podium contention because he dropped. But he started his Grand Prix in 80, dropped back to 21st on his long lap penalty after Mandalika. And some recovery this has been from Alman. Don't rule out the 22-layer part Honda.
The 2-layer part Honda in the middle of this battle. The Honda of Morelli's now dropped out. But you can see him to the back of the picture. He's now reversing back towards Neppert and Buchanan. That's 11th, 12th and 13th. So this group third all the way back to Fratelli in 10th. 8 riders battling for one final spot on the podium. 10 seconds behind the top 2.
Well, becoming the 18th Italian to finish the podium on a 3 lap time out. It's been a horror show so far, but he's stuck right down the back end of the points going places. Esteban then briefly up into the top 6 on the 78 bike at the back of this. I think battle as well is Fratelli, who's worked his way back into contention. It's on the grid Fratelli starts, he dropped out of early contention very early on with a bit of a slugging start. Up the road by well over 10 seconds are Rueda and Kelso. Still nothing between those two, less than a quarter of a second over the line, 135.8. Those two both exchange. Quiles has some serious corner speed going to the Stowe corner. Can he attack Fernandez on the basis into the Miller corner? Notice where Fernandez is so good. Carpe, they'll say thank you very much. He picks up Fernandez and darting through also goes Quiles.
Purasato, Almanza, and I think it was Vanessa further back. They were also picking out haymakers to each other. They were battling 3 wide into turn 4 as well for 6 and 7. So we're keeping an eye on everyone in this leading group. There's so much trying to keep on top of Esteban. Certainly showed some bravery there and putting Vanessa in a position he didn't want to think to the head.
1.4 seconds further back between the gap of, or the battle between Morelli, Neppert, Buchanan, Ogden, and O'Shea. But Carrara also in 17th place, still in contention for some points potentially in this Australian Grand Prix. Once again, we'll just follow the top 2 as they power out of turn 12. Kelso just cannot get close to Kenny to really seize on the slipstream advantage he will have behind Rueda. Rueda over the line, and that's the third lap in a row now. They both at the exact same time, 35.6, 35.8 on the last lap, and now they've both done 35.9. Absolutely nothing at all between the pace of this top two, but it's still Rueda at the front.
And they're on the exact same tyre combination, both of them on the XC2 front and rear Pirelli, so there's no tyre advantage for either of the two in this leading group. At the end of this lap, lap 15 and 21, we will have gone through the three-quarters cut-off where a race will be declared should we get a red flag. Of course, that became rather significant in Indonesia a couple of weeks ago.
Not too many people that have run Rueda close, but he's been in the front of the Grand Prix for such a long period of time. Turn 4, of course, it's turn 4. Miller calling where Fernandez making yet another killer move on the inside of Carpe. What he has been lethal, hasn't he, on the break into that fourth corner, and the 31 layered hard on the so once again, it's Fernandez that forced himself back into the head of this second group. Still right in the mix. Carpe, Curasato, Quiles, Esteban, Almanza from a long, long way back. Well, so far back, he was outside the top 20 after his long lap.
Well, Almanza's found that catching this group is one thing, but getting through it is another, and Carpe trying to go around the outside, up and over Lucy Heights, would give him the inside line if he was close enough on Fernandez, but he wasn't. If anything, he's under pressure. Once again, it's Aspar versus Aspar. This time, Esteban going the conventional inside line on Quiles.
Well, around the outside didn't work, so they might as well try the only other option, and that's to fire on the inside of Quiles, and this time around, it didn't work. Further down, the two Brits, Ogden and O'Shea, 14 and 16 respectively. Over the line we go then. It is Rueda. 36.1 that last lap from Rueda. Kelso still in the 35. Kelso the only rider actually out on circuit in the 35. Held by the slipstream and behind Rueda. But Kelso, this is game on, isn't it? This is very much game on for the home win.
Rueda looking to play the role of party trooper in Phillip Island this afternoon. You don't become a world champion if you have any sense of it. He's not going to be letting anybody have this. He is a serial Moto3 winner. That's why he's world champion with 4 races still to spare. The 99 might not want this quite as much as Kelso, but he is addicted to winning.
Up at the moment in this battle. Although having said that, he needs some further nectar on the brakes. All this contact there further back between Esteban and Almanza. 22 versus 78 into the middle corner. Almanza trying to suffer that now with Kelly as well. We know he doesn't lack aggression. Almanza, the reason he was in a long lap, he was finishing out a couple of rows last time out in Manliga. This then has put Esteban down from 6th to 9th.
8 as they go then, and up and over the ice. This trio at the back needs to make sure they don't get taxed here from the opposing group while they're really watching each other. Of course, trading some pace on their bikes through Miller corner. Esteban again with the lunge into turn 10, so this is the battle trail this group. That's 8th, 9th and 10th.
It's about to see now 5 of the biggest laps of Joel Kelso's career, around 20 kilometres he is away from a fairy tale, from a dream coming through once again with the slipstream. You can see how much he did with the close on Rueda, on the brakes, through that fast, high-speed right-hander of the Newark corner. What is going through the mind of Kelso right now? It's been a long, long time on Rueda's tail here. He'd have seen exactly the strengths and weaknesses of the world champion ahead of him. When, if he can, will Kelso feel he can pick his moment?
In some respects, the pressure is on Kelso in this group because Jose Antonio Rueda released all the pressure by winning the World Championship last time out in Indonesia, so he's just racing for the fun of it in these final 4 Grand Prix. Kelso, one of the things he'll be trying to compute in his mind in these final laps while he's behind Rueda. Can he out-drag him on the run to the finish line, out of the final corner, and dare he leave in that lane?
Been a master tactician, as he all throughout 2025 at Rueda. Count on one hand the amount of bad calls that he's made in Grand Prix so far this season. Eddie O'Shea having a real strong lap. He's gone up from 15th up into 12th place. Top job by the MLAV Racing ride. He's now got Cannon, Olsen and Nessa behind. That will be a career best for O'Shea.
Carpe's got a bit of space now behind himself in 3rd place. He led himself to the front of this group, started the lap in 6th. He's now 4th. Fernandez back in 5th place. Esteban once again. He gets it round the outside of Luca Lanetta. He's not having that one into 10th. So Esteban stays back in 7th place. But is Carpe making a bit of a bid for freedom in these final 5 laps now?
The way that looks like he's singing in that bandit, it is. That feels like it's going to be a huge lap 17 has just been fired in by Rueda. 1:35.98 back in the 35. That's top lap time as well. He's got nobody ahead of him. Punching air, or punching a hole in the air on the Gardner straight. 36.2 was from Kelso. The gap 3.5 tenths of a second. That's the biggest gap there's been between Rueda and Kelso.
Kelso's closing right up though in this first sector. We're watching through that helicopter shot from like for a few laps now. Kelso is superb through Dune corner, first one, turn one closes a lot of that advantage right back up again. And as they now come past our common spot window into Miller, he's right on the rear tyre of Rueda again.
Carpe looks like he might be aiming for a decisive breakaway in that fight for third. Here's tyre wear just starting to become a bit of a factor here late on. Carpe's got about the biggest breather he's had in this entire Grand Prix in that second group. Came over the line, almost 6 tenths of a second clear of Fernandez, who was then his closest rival. As you can see, Fernandez has been pushed back now down to 6th place.
Well, Fernandez and Keeler have been doing improvement. He's got a harder rear tyre on. Doesn't appear to be giving them any sort of payback at the moment. Not a lot of fire bricks to pay them back. With just 3.5 laps to go. Carpe's advantage as we go to the second sector. 3/4 of a second now over Keeler. It's been quite a while since we've seen Carpe on a Grand Prix podium. But Jello, in fact.
Going through turn 12, Rueda's so good in this final sector. He's absolutely phenomenal in the final sector. Kelso just cannot get anywhere near him. Going through 11 and 12, the two fast left-handers that complete this circuit. This is a big conundrum. This is a big puzzle that Kelso's going to try and work out here then, with 3 laps to go. 3 laps between Kelso and the finest hour of his Grand Prix career. It's been 11 long years since MotoGP victor has come from a home rider here in Phillip Island. Kelso though is able to pick up that switch and really close in on Rueda into the Newton corner, but Rueda standing firm as you know he would do. He's very seldom cracks in these high pressure situations.
It is the early to slipstream, keeping Kelso in this. He's always on the main straight through turn 1, then he closes back in on Rueda. He's quick enough to stay with the world champion, but is he quick enough to attack him? He said he's going to send it. He's got 2.5 more laps to go to send it.
Now or never, Kelso is never going to have a bigger, a better opportunity to break his world championship winning duck. And as mentioned before the Grand Prix, no better place to do it. Not a dreadful situation where maybe his first Grand Prix success came in front of his home crowd here at the iconic, the classic Phillip Island circuit. 3/10 of a second, Rueda built his lead halfway around this lap 19 of 21. Still very keen to battle, claiming the third place. Sato trying to go on the inside of Fernandez. That's going to be brave on the inside, going through 8 and 9, almost out of the car park. Almost his way back to Melbourne Airport was Joel Esteban going through this tight.
It looks like Keeler's closing it down. He is on the third lap from the finish of this Grand Prix. Just 2 to go when they'll come across the line now. So Carpe hasn't got his third place secured just yet. Rueda does a 36.0. Kelso 36.1. Kelso's running back doing slow lap times, but it's just not quite fast enough. Penultimate lap start.
Rueda is just too good. He is just too good, too fast in that vital fourth split. He's just able to break the toe. He's able to break the slipstream from Kelso. Just no chance at all for the Aussie to try and attack him on the brakes into the Newton corner. Carpe looks like he might have this one covered off the third place. He's going to have some late heroics from those behind him, including Keeler, Necker and Fernandez, and while those lot continue to shut each other up, this is just playing into the hands right now of Carpe. It looks like Keeler, Mark Henry-Ryder's got something to offer Carpe late on.
You see the fourth sector is like Kelso on this lap. He needs to be glued to the rear tyre of Rueda when they come out of the final corner. As Esteban gets up on the inside of Adrian Fernandez. He's now up into fifth place. Another couple of positions, and Esteban might be on the podium for the first time.
Yeah, career best of the fourth in Le Mans. So one more position, and Esteban will be including his career best, showing potentially, well, I feel like I should be still a full-time rider on this MotoGP World Championship grid. Yeah, Kelso, as they now drop down into turn 10. This is where Rueda has been mustered on that Red Bull KTM machine. Kelso has not got the legs in sector 4. He's not close enough. He's nowhere near close enough. He's actually losing ground. Rueda through 11 and 12. It's only 2 corners. They're going to decide this Australian Grand Prix.
Final lap begins then, and Kelso's not in a position to pick up any sort of slipstream. We are watching a world champion doing world champion things. Rueda back in the 35 on the last lap, a 35.7. Kelso's in the 35.2, but it's not quite enough.
Kelso really is digging deep. He's digging so deep, desperately for an Australian Grand Prix victory. This one is not over yet. He's been putting so much pressure on the waiter who just has refused to buckle at the front of this Grand Prix. Here we go, it's an overtaking hotspot going for Kelso. It's not going to be close to Vinny to attack Rueda into the Miller corner. He is running out of time, he is running out of corners.
One remaining opportunity, I think. He's into turn 10, the downhill plunge as you go over Lucy Heights, but he's not close enough. And I fear that even if he does get out of Rueda might just slipstream him and pass it to the line.
Still a massive, massive day. Still a memorable day as far as Joel Kelso's concerned. A home podium. He's been here before. This is on his first rodeo in Australia. This one looks like it's over. 6/10 of a second. Rueda leads halfway through this final lap. That is his biggest advantage of the whole Grand Prix. Kelso looks like he's formed an incredible five. It looks like he might just come up short in terms of victory. It's going to be a brilliant home podium though for the Aussie.
Yeah, they're in the final section now. They're just doing in turn 10, top of your screen. Carpe coming under some lane pressure for a pair of Aspar riders in that battle for the final podium spot.
Yeah, Carpe with a big pressure. Esteban on course for a career best 4th place. Looking for bragging rights in CF-Moto. Aspar fires through on kilos. Out of the final corner they go then. It's the world champion in 2025, Jose Antonio Rueda, who gate crashes Joel Kelso's home Grand Prix party. Rueda takes the win of the season. Kelso is second. Esteban trying to get some slipstream behind Carpe. Carpe just about hang on for the final place on the podium. Esteban, Quiles, Andrew Fernandez and Caio Forsato, 4th, 5th, 6th and 8th respectively, all set their best laps of the Grand Prix on that 21st and final lap. Quiles then takes a 5th and just misses out on the opportunity to pinch second in the World Championship away from the Caravan. It's once again another double podium for Red Bull KTM IO. So many great stories in that Australian Grand Prix in Moto3. Jose Antonio Rueda wins for the 3rd Grand Prix in the last 4. That's the key reason why he, of course, is the world champion. And we're going to get the t-shirts, aren't we, the Red Bull KTM IO. Just phenomenal. What a performance. Kelso pushed and pushed and pushed, but he just could not force a mistake out of Jose Antonio Rueda. So becomes just the 6th rider in lightweight world championship history to have 10 or more wins in a single season. Listen to some of the names he joins: Alonso, Rossi, Grazini, Marc Marquez and Juan Mir. That's a pretty exclusive club. He might have broken some home hearts, take nothing away from Kelso. He's put up a rousing fight for 2nd place. He does indeed take second in front of his own crowd. A second home podium for Kelso. And Carpe, where has he been the last 2 Grand Prix? Back on form, back on the podium.
Both t-shirts, the Rebel KTM IO signify that they are the team champions in 2025. But you can see him then on the pinboard too. So a triple crown complete for that squad. Rueda the rider champion, KTM the constructor champions that are unbeaten this season, and Red Bull KTM IO the team champions. What a good fight though Joel Kelso put up, powered on by all of Australia. He scored his career best in 2nd place. Alessandro Finucci wins the 8th with Jack.
Alessandro, your man gave everything there. So much to be proud of. What an emotion right to the end of it.
Yes, I agree, but yeah, in the end, he deserved it, but Rueda is so strong, but we're really happy and not to celebrate.
I can imagine it. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's 12:30 AACM local time here in Australia. I think it's going to be 12:39, and those celebrations are going to be well and truly in full swing as far as Kelso and co are concerned. Yeah, the Aussie fans are on their feet. What a great show that was from Joel Kelso. 5th Grand Prix in a row that he has led. He's made the front running. But you have to say, that race followed a familiar pattern in 2025. Jose Antonio Rueda just consistently, once again, the star performer. How good was Rueda in that Grand Prix? 2nd to 4th, in particular turns 11 and 12, was where Kelso must have known that Park must have been thinking at times, knowing that Rueda just had the edge on it. He just had that little bit of an advantage where Kelso was able to get close enough to the screen. Podium number 5 of his World Championship career for the 22-year-old from Darwin. It's been a great weekend for Kelso. He then practiced yesterday morning. Started on pole position first on his Tissot Moto3 in his home Grand Prix. And so close. less than a second, just over 8 seconds a second from that elusive first victory.
I'm sure we expect a sweep to some extent, but there is absolutely no change in being pictured by Jose Antonio Rueda in the form that he's in 2025. Absolutely no signs of him slacking off after clinching the World Championship last time out. And congratulations to Red Bull KTM IO in their first season run by Nicky IO. They are the team champions, Nicky with Jack.
Yeah, riders world champions, now teams world champions, and what a way to do it, Nicky, as well. Jose Antonio, incredible again, but I imagine Alvaro getting back onto the podium means a lot after a difficult period.
I think the biggest joy today is Alvaro back on the podium. He's had a very hard time lately, and already in Indonesia he showed that, he's back in the front, but unfortunately there was, crashed by the others. So, of course, in general, it's great to get the team championship, but I think the biggest joy today is Alvaro. Congrats.
Carthag's first podium in 10 Grand Prix. It has been worth the wait. Took it by just 500ths of a second over the absolutely superb Joel Esteban, equaling his career best in fourth. Finishing that fourth place by just 700ths of a second away from Chiles. Now, the World Championship, that gap 14 was the deficit between himself and Makeda. That's come down to 3 points with 3 to go in 2025. Started at 12:39 for the fastest time here in Australia. One of the riders in the race, without any question, was Al Manser, 18th on the grid, service long that penalty, dropped to 23rd, 9th at the checkered flag, only 1.3 seconds off the podium behind Carpe. Left from the front row, finishing 7th. Rosato from 4th on the grid, his equal best starting position was 8th. Great sportsmanship, as mentioned. Driving MOTO3 history, or in lightweight world championship history, to win 10 races in the same season. Look at that list: Fausto Rossi, Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, Joan Mir, of course, in 2017, and most recently the record number of victories for last year, 14, set by David Alonso. Unfortunately, Rueda was to fall short in that tally. He does indeed win the last 3 Grand Prix, which he would not put past him.
Today. You didn't need it, you're the world champion, but Jose Antonio Rueda, every Grand Prix, anything he competes in, that's why the best are the best, is they want to win at absolutely everything. And as mentioned a moment ago, absolutely no sign of Jose Antonio Rueda's standards dropping after winning the world championship.
Yeah, the burden of pressure released off the shoulders of Rueda. Prima handling the pressure, trying to capture the world champion, wasn't he? Over the last 3 or 4 Grand Prix, to the edge ever closer, as he's been that 9th Spaniard to capture the MOTO3 crown. Here he is, and back on the podium for the first time in 10 Grand Prix. What a ride that was by Alvaro Carpe. Third place in that qualifying class, down in the Jack.
Alvaro, it's been a difficult period, but to get back onto the podium after 10 Grand Prix and do it in a battle like that, just how much does it mean?
Yeah, I'm very happy for this because finally I'm back on the podium on the front group, and yeah, I'm very happy because this podium on this circuit that I love this circuit. I enjoy every corner. I enjoy because it's a fantastic circuit. I like too much this track. Also, many fans here. Thank you all for coming to the track to cheer. But yeah, about the race, I'm very happy because it was very difficult with battle with Chiles and Fernandez. They both was battling me very hard, and they didn't let me to do my pace. But when they give me like a few meters, I push 100%, giving all my pace, giving my 100% on the track. Very happy because we work very well with all the team, with my crew, with all the teams. I have to say thanks to all of them because they in all the races that I won, I didn't in the front group. They believe in me, they push me, and this is exciting experience for the next year. Thank you for the team, for my family that they wake up to see me, and all my friends, all the people who support me. Thank you so much. I hope to be more on sport.
Great ride, well done.
Thank you.
So it was certainly worth the Carpe clan waking up in the early hours back in Europe to see Alvaro back on the podium. Prepared to stay by the stands of it. The latest member of the Phillip Island fan club, his first visit to this magnificent Australian Grand Prix venue. And he made it a memorable one, didn't he? First podium was Mugello, fourth career podium for Carpe. Started in 2025 on the box. Red Bull KTM IO 1-2 in Burram behind his teammate Jose Antonio Rueda. The brilliant backup of Carpe for the Steam Red Bull KTM IO Cancer World Championship. Well, he said to Jack on the grid he was going to send it. He certainly did send it. Second place from pole position for the home hero, Joel Kelso, who's with Jack.
Joel, you gave it absolutely everything today, and you put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces here at Phillip Island. Just how close was that victory? What are your emotions like at the end of it all?
Fire man, got my absolute best and squeezed everything I could out of it. I was saving the tyre as much as possible. As soon as Raider wanted to go in front, I said, go for it, mate. I'm going to try to save the tyre. But it's too good for me right now. Yeah, I can't do it. Just saving the tyre, he's so good at it. And the last lap he did like 5.7 or something, 5.6. I didn't have any of that. I had 5.90 million. That was a bit, I tried to pull it through for the Aussie crowd, but best we could do today was second. But I just want to thank everyone once again for coming out and supporting me. It's so cool to see all the merchandise. Everyone, all the Aussie flags out there cheering me on. And yeah, let's enjoy Sunday night then.
So much of it now, John. Well done, Joel.
Cheers, Jamie, mate.
Yeah, fantastic performance that by Joel Kelso. We'll get you forward together very quickly. Have done, but yeah, Joel Kelso, as we said, and as we have said so often in 2025, Jose Antonio Rueda just too good. As the star performer at the right from the get-go, but going for kick off the season, then the victory in that opening Grand Prix. But Kelso, what a fight he did put up. Brilliant performance by Kelso. Second this season already in Austin, second in Le Mans, and unfortunately coming up short here in Phillip Island. But what a start to his reign as 2025 MoTo3 World Champion. He's victorious for the 10th time this season. Jose Antonio Rueda with Jack.
Jose Antonio, that victory number 10 for 2025. Joel just said you were simply too good. How do you keep on doing it?
Yeah, well, this track is amazing. I enjoy every lap. It's very lovely, and yeah, I want to say thanks for the team for the work on the weekend, and also congratulations for my teammate Carpe, because I'm very happy to see. I'm very proud to I get involved in the podium. So yeah, we need to enjoy today with everybody, but also we are team world champions. So yeah, I'm very happy, and I want to enjoy with all the team and all of that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, another phenomenal performance by Jose Antonio Rueda. What he certainly made it look easy. As he crosses the line then to win number 10, the winning margin 0.829 of a second. Complete race of their own. Rueda and Kelso, there was a massive gap at 11.8 seconds. Carpe finished behind Kelso. 2025 then, continues Red Bull KTM IO. They are crowned world champions. Was it ever really in any doubt after they took a 1-2 in the opening Grand Prix of the season in early March for a ramp? The IO and Aki IO, of course, father and son. So much to nurture and develop hot young talent through the Red Bull KTM system. Got another couple of gems on the books there, haven't they? We know Rueda will be in Red Bull KTM IO colours in MotoGP next year. Well, that pressure is building on Michaelas, the second in the World Championship for a good number of Grand Prix now, and that pressure builds even further. No podium down the last 4 for Michaelas. Brilliant victory in Catalunya, and that's why that advantage over Tissot in the fight for first and second in the championship comes to just 3 points with 3 rounds to go.
Right, for a start, you saw there, he drew one of the short straws in that mega battle. Third back to 10 for a Sabtu was over a second away from the podium, but no good enough to 8 in the end from the second row of the grid. For a Sabtu now 10th in the World Championship. It's a 2-horse race now for runner-up in the World Championship. There are some leaders who would just support this year with that fraction feature. Kelso and Carpe look now as if they're in a battle to try and pass Munoz for fourth in the World Championship in the final 3 races.
That gives you the perfect indicator of just how sort of harsh that tailwind is, blowing the riders down the Gardner Straight. Those flags being bumping to the right, which is exactly where the nearby fastest straight sits as the Australian Grand Prix Moto3 podium celebrations get underway.
And it's a party to end all parties for Red Bull KTM IO team champions. Both riders on the podium today. First up is Watchalong from Carpe, but a second MotoGP podium in 3 years for Joel Kelso, third couple of years ago. Second today, but ultimately second best to the very best in Moto3 in 2025. 10 victories now for Jose Antonio Rueda and counting. Congratulations to Red Bull KTM IO serial Moto3 winners, team champions once again. Alvaro Carpe, who had a bit of a purple patch at the beginning of the season, but his podium ran a little dry. Trophy here in Phillip Island aloft. 20 minutes before the season for him now. Joel Kelso, also podium number 4 of the season. He is the toast of Phillip Island. Part 1 of their 3-pronged attack on the podium. Kelso did his bit. Ultimately though, just not quite enough. Jose Antonio Rueda underlining why he is the world champion today.
Kelso did his home fans proud here in Phillip Island, but once again, just as he has done in 9 previous Grand Prix in 2025, it's Rueda that rules the Prix. His winning tally of the season's incredible world champion winning campaign into double figures, a double podium for Red Bull KTM IO as they clinch yet another Moto3 team championship. Battle for second in the standings. Well, that looks like it could go all the way down to the wire in Valencia, doesn't it? As Angel Figueras and Max Marquez are split by just 3 points. Kelso is going to do the Jack Miller celebration. He's got a boot full of Prosecco, and we might get a double showing here because Jose Antonio Rueda is also getting in on the action. Well, here we go, the top 2 in the Australian Grand Prix. Very special celebration. There we go, Kelso with the shoey, Jose Antonio Rueda with the shoey as well. Brilliant scenes on the podium then.